Hi, good morning. I've been teaching a watercolor class, and we have been experimenting with pouring, which is a lot of fun and produces some wonderful results. So I wanted to demonstrate this technique to you. It's very simple. It's fun to do whether you're a beginning watercolorist or intermediate or even advanced. So this is the materials that I have for demonstrating the pouring method. I have my palette of watercolors. Then over here I just have some styrofoam cups that I've cut down. Actually, you can use any small cup like that. I have a container of water there. I have the masking liquid. This is actually like a liquid latex. And then here I have some brushes. I have some special brushes for the masking fluid. It tends to alter the bristles a little bit, so I keep those separate from my other ones. And then here I have my watercolor paper. This is 140-pound cold press watercolor paper. And I have just taped the edges with a low-tack tape like this, because I think for this particular method I'm going to want a nice sharp edge. So I think for the first color I'm going to mix up blue, just putting the watercolor paint and that's going to be my first color. I have a drop cloth on this table because there's going to be some runoff. I may take my brush here and just encourage it a little bit. Like this. The effect you get from pouring is different than painting, because basically you're letting gravity work the paint. So by turning the watercolor paper like this, I can get my color smoothly, in this case, all over the surface. So there's my first color. I have two options here. I can just wait and let it dry, or in this case I can help it to dry by using a hair dryer. I think I'm going to use my hair dryer. Speed things up a bit. That took about 3 or 4 minutes with the dryer, and now I can apply the masking fluid. If you are working on a drawing, of course you'll make choices as to what you want to mask. Where you put this down, of course, the color will be retained. In this case, I'm just going to be working with patterns. And many times this is the technique we use for beginning students, just so they can become acquainted with this technique. Now I have my pattern down, and again, I could choose to just let it dry naturally, but in this case I'm going to use the dryer again to speed up the drying process. So these first masked patterns are dry, and now I'm ready to put another color on. In this case I took that blue and I added some red to it. So I like to work from light to dark, so this is going to be a little darker, this color. And I'll spread it around. You can see that the masking patterns are coming out on this. And then I'm just turning this around. I think I'm not going to cover the whole paper, I'm just going to do part of it. See what happens with the pattern that the drips are making. You have a choice. You can either go with another color that is analogous, that is in the same color range, like blue or green or yellow, or you can go with a contrasting color. In this case, I'm using a contrasting color. I pretty much have the configuration that I want. So now I'm going to put my dryer on it again and dry it. Now I think what I'm going to do is, I've mixed up another color. In this case, this is a yellow. And I'm just going to put that color over this part. So I've turned it around and blended these two colors together, so I'm thinking that that is the way I like the colors blended. So I think I'm going to dry this now. Now I'm going to put some more masking fluid down, and using a larger brush, and covering some more areas. To me, this kind of experimenting like this really gives some really interesting effects. Now that masking is dry, so I've mixed up another color, a darker color. In this case, it is a purple. Just pour it on like that. All of these colors, even if they appear very dark, they're going to be lighter. And then I'm just going to turn the paper to spread the color around. I like that color blend, so now I'm going to dry that. Obviously, we keep on masking and keeping on adding colors, but I think this is enough just to get a grasp of this technique. Now you can see that the masking pulls off fairly easily. You want to be careful not to tear the paper. You want to make sure it's all dry. There's always this surprise element to this. Very exciting, I think. So you never really quite know, especially working more or less abstractly like this. So I've sectioned this off with masking tape, another way of masking. And now I'm going to go over this with blue. Now I've masked the other sections, so this section here I'm going to do in yellow. And this section over here I'm going to do red. I simplified this masked composition by splitting it into 3 sections. And I'm just about done. I think I'm going to take a watercolor brush and just repeat very lightly some patterns here to emphasize those shapes. So I took the masking tape off the edge now. You can see that splitting it into 3 sections almost makes it look like some oriental screen, and simplified the composition, brought in new color and different color. And then also I took a very fine brush and just put in some very faint lines that repeat those shapes. And I think this turned out very well. This is very, very easy to do. Anybody can do this, and the results are always really spectacular. You can do this. Watercolor with masking fluid, lots of fun. If you want to find out more about art instruction and painting, drawing, collage, printmaking, go to my website, freeonlineartclasses.com. A lot of really good information, rich art instruction, totally. And I have over 100 art demo videos on YouTube that you should check out. And if you like cooking, like I do, you should check out my cooking videos also on my 2 channels. Just type in my name at YouTube, Lois D. Witt, and it'll all come up for you. And if you really like cooking a lot, you may want to try my Pop It in the Toaster Oven cookbook, which is on sale everywhere, including Amazon. So you've got art, you got cooking. What else do you need?